Hello and welcome to another TP's Diary video. Yeah, so we found a break in the weather which has been absolutely brilliant. So we've headed off down to the New Forest to try and give you or showcase the XK150. It's proving to be a little bit trickier than I was sort of first anticipated, considering everyone and his dog is out today. I've had a few people who've asked me what's the attraction to an old car and not to a new one, not like go out and buy a new Ferrari or Maserati or something like that. And I think it's the connection to the car, to the road. It's a hard one, because when you start talking to true classic car people, they get it. And when you're talking to people who buy a car that literally it takes them from A to B, they don't get it. And yeah, you could go out and buy a new Ferrari, a new Maserati, and that car is modern, everything works, it's comfortable, it's warm. On a day like today, at least it's nice and warm. And yeah, perfect. It never breaks down, never have to do any jobs on it, etc. But they don't seem to have any soul. And an old car, you're more connected with the machine. I suppose it's man and machine. You're more connected to the car itself. When you're driving it, like this car in particular, this is a true driver's vehicle. You don't get in this car and sort of drive down the road and drift off and think about other things. I remember back in the day with my father, he had an XJ6, which was my sort of first memory of Jaguars, and step into that car and it's the smell, it's the ambience, the whole thing. So I'm not really explaining myself particularly well. For me, it is the fact that when you drive an old car, you actually have to properly drive it. You have to concentrate. You have to look at where other people are. You have to brake on time. You have to set the car up before the corner and then allow the car to drive itself around the corner. It's the smell. It's the smell of the leather. It's the smell of the sort of the gear oil. It's just the feeling of it is when you drive the car down the road. You have to experience it. If you haven't experienced an old car and driving an old car and you're into cars, then you have to go out and try. So yes. Oh, look out, we got a donkey on the road. So yes, and then the interior. Well, what can I say about the interior of this car? It is a very, very nice place to be. It's comfortable, especially with these XJS seats in it. The visibility out is perfect. The smell is amazing, like I've said before. Everything seems to be laid out, and it's nice because there's no mod cons in this car, as you would expect. This is 1960, so there's no mod cons in it. It's just a speedo, rev counter, and temperature gauges with a fuel gauge as well. So interior-wise, it's absolutely brilliant. And then that brings me on to the engine. I mean, you can so see why this XK engine made Jaguar, and you can see why it was sort of the backbone, let's say, of Jaguar's success, and it ran for so long. I mean, this particular engine is 3.8 litres. It was right at the end of the production run, this car, just before the E-Type. And I can promise you, the way it delivers power, now I've sorted all of the linkage out and tuned those carburetors, the way I can put my foot down and it just delivers that power in such a nice, smooth and even motion. It's just it's just a pleasure to drive. It really is, and it just puts a smile on your face when you go down the road. And you think, well, 1960, you know, we're now 2026. This car, is it a slouch? Well, it's not by any stretch. You know, this car, when you put your foot down, it really picks up its tail, and it really properly goes. So the engine is incredible. To be honest with you, fuel efficiency, I've never been worried about that, so I've never calculated it. It's 0 to 60 time. You know, if you want to know that on a 3.8 litre XK engine, then you have to look that up, because that, again, I'm not too worried about how fast I get from 0 to 60. For me, it's just purely about how the car feels and how it accelerates up through the gears. So that engine is coupled with a Moss gearbox, and I know that some people change these for a 5-speed Subaru manual. I can't really see why you'd opt to do that, apart from this one doesn't have synchro mesh in first gear, so you need to one of the sort of idiosyncrasies of this gearbox is that when you go, before you put it into first gear, you need to slip it into second and then put it into first. When you're driving and you're running it up and down through the gears, you don't have to double the clutch. I do. It's just a bit of a habit of mine. But it's absolutely essential to put it into second before you try and put it into first. Otherwise, all you do is grind those gears. And first gear on this car is it's a straight cut gear, so you do get a bit of gear whine. But you know, again, it's 1960. That's what you should expect. Other things. Now I've done all the front end. This car with the steering, you can see I can take my hand off. It's a very bumpy road. Drives dead straight. Very pointy. This electric steering that's on the car makes it an absolute pleasure to drive. You can adjust it. You can make it a bit heavier. If you feel it's a bit light, you can make it a bit heavier. But yeah, I mean, in a straight line, it just drives dead straight round the corners. It just puts the car wherever you want to put it. It just goes. So, and that in combination with the Fosway front caliper conversion, so the brake conversion we've done, means the car stops as well. So that's really all I can tell you on this car. I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to drive. It stops, starts, goes round corners, and yeah, no traction control, no ABS, no airbags. It's extremely stable as you put it round the corners. When I talk to my father, who remembers these cars when they were new, and he remembers being put through their paces, you know, he recalls with these cars quite regularly going sideways. Well, I've never done that, and I've never tried to push it that hard. But yeah, all I can say is an absolute joy. I mean, the rear suspension, now I've done that modification on those aftermarket springs by welding in that bolt head. There's not a noise, not creak or anything that comes out of that. So I'm very, very happy with how this car has turned out from when I first got it after years of it sitting in a barn, not being used, to getting it back to being a reliable car that you can use every day if you really wanted to, but go on tours in it. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, with how it goes. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit that like button. Keep subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.